Hello, welcome to /backtrack. Today we are going to talk about information gathering and vulnerability analysis. Or, any penetration tester should first start with a reconnaissance of their client to find out anything they possibly can, or they may end up wasting a lot of their day. Before I start though, I have to apologize for any noise that you may hear, a low hum. There's a 144 port switch sitting right behind my head and it's making quite a bit of noise. And also, I'm running everything in a virtual machine, and it seems to be a little temperamental. But we'll try to work through these issues. So, where should we start? Well, I always like to start with the phishing expedition. And that will be at BackTrack, information gathering, network analysis, DNS analysis, and Maltego. Now, why do I choose Maltego? Because Maltego will find information when you don't know what you're looking for. If you just have an email address, a domain name, Maltego will show you exposure. It will show you how much information can be found readily about that source on the internet. And it's a good place to start if you have nowhere else to start. So here we go. As you can see, Maltego has a graphical user interface, and it is very easy to use. So what we're going to do, we're going to look around. This is the general structure. What we first want to do, though, is we want to go to the Manage tab. Now, as you can see, my VM is not acting well, so just bear with me. First thing you want to do is go to Manage Transforms. Click on that. Your Transform Manager will come up. Now, your transforms are the sections of the program that are actually taking your information and extracting information throughout the internet. Initially, when you first start up Maltego, all of these little tick boxes will be empty. You must tick them or it will not work. You must tick them. They are essentially Perturba saying, you understand that this could screw up your computer. You understand that we have no responsibility once you go and start to use this. You can't use it without it, so you just keep on going. So now we have all of our transforms. We have armed Maltego. Close. Now you will notice that my VM is not working well at all. So I'm going to do as best I can. Now up in the corner here, you have your graph button. You click it to start a brand new graph. Your graph is your workspace. This is where you will actually do all of your work for Maltego. You can make as many graphs as you want. You can have as many different searches going on as you want. Now you notice on the sidebar here that you have different objects. Domain names, NS records, you can have a phrase, phone number, a Facebook object. Now the key to Maltego is actually not just to transform one object, but it's to transform many objects. You want to find as many different things about your target as you possibly can. Then you drag as many different objects, at least 2, into the workstation, and that will help you find relationships between these objects. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's just go do something really simple. So we're going to use a domain name. You just drag it over. You'll see the default domain of perturba.com. Click on it, delete it, and I'm just going to put a local company in there. Dittos.com. Now, what we do is we right-click it, go Run Transform, then you can do all transforms, and you can select the many different transforms that are there. You can transform it to an email address using search engines. You can transform it to files, to phone numbers. You can find specific things relating to Dittos.com. I'm going to run all transforms. It won't take that long, trust me, even in a and it's already transforming. Let's just let it go. 71, 76%. It's coming up with a lot. Some days you'll put in an item and you won't get a lot of hits from it. And some days you'll put in an item and you'll get many hits from it. I'm doing this on a laptop, so I don't have all the space in the world. But this is what it's come back with for me. So I've got dittos.com. I have all of these websites that are associated with dittos.com. They have links or relationships to dittos.com. These phone numbers have relationships to dittos.com. Are they the phone numbers that you need? Who knows? Are these websites that you need? Who knows? But what you can do is you can transform each of these individual items and find out if there's any more interrelationships. Obviously, you're not going to click on facebook.com. But there may be a newspaper clipping in here. There may be another website. Even the phone number. What I can do is I can right-click, run transform, all transforms, on another object in there. Give it a second. And it's finding relationships. And these are different websites, I suspect, and email addresses associated with Premier Radio. Now, is this useful to you? To a specific person, it may be. But as I said, the key is to find two or more objects, put them both in, and transform them. And then you'll find relationships between those two objects. Hopefully, if you find a relationship, then you're onto something. Well, that's all I have to say. This is just a place to get you started. Next, we'll be going on to ARPing and Nmap. So, in this section, we need to find out how soft the underbelly, or how exposed our internal network is. The external network is fairly protected most of the time, but the internal of a client's network can be very soft, and we have to know how soft it is. We have to know what we can show to our client and how we can show to our client the weaknesses involved within their network and how we can test it. So here we go. First thing what I like to do is I like to use SCAPI and ARPing. I do use Nmap, but what I find is that Nmap takes quite a bit of time, and in order to find all of the hosts on a network, I like using ARPing. It's simple, it's fast, and it gives me quite a bit of information. And I want everybody to know that this network right now is my own network. It's all been built and separate from any other network, just so that you know that I am not accessing anything external. There we go. Now, as we can see, we've received back 4 IP addresses. I can tell you right now that I have 3 hosts right now and 1 default gateway. I'm going to assume by best practices that these are the static IP addresses, default gateways, and anything like domain controllers on the other side. It can be backwards or forwards. Some people put their domain controllers at the beginning, some put them at the very end. It's just the way I was taught. And the DHCP is assigning some addresses right in the middle. So I can gain quite a bit of information from this. I have the MAC addresses, which I can use later to go and spoof an address if I want to. I have the addresses, which could help me spoof them. I know that there's probably a few static addresses on there, and I'm pretty sure that there's DHCP. So this is pretty interesting. But we need a little bit more information. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to BackTrack, Information Gathering, Network Analysis, and we're going to go all the way down to Service Fingerprinting. And we're just going to run a simple program like NBT scan. NBT Scan has quite a few different switches, so take time eventually and look through them. I always like using the V for verbose. It's always nice using V because it tells you when there's something wrong with what you've executed. So even if you've entered the command in wrong, it'll at least tell you what you've done and you can fix it. So let's go do NBT Scan -V -R and 192.168.0.0/24. And there we go. I see the names of my hosts, which I've named Global. I've created a fake company called global.com. Services, and if it's unique within the system. They're all part of the domain global. And there's also 4 work groups. One of them is unique. We have a little bit more information now. How you choose to use it is up to you. But now it's a little bit more information for you. So our last thing that we're going to do at this point is what we're going to do is we want to see a specific host and what's happening with it. And for that, we're going to use Nmap, which is the granddaddy. You will notice that there is a lot of switches for Nmap. What I like about Nmap is it's simple and it's fast. If you're not comfortable with the command line, though, there is ZenMap, which is the graphical interface for Nmap. We're going to do those. We're going to look at what would have been our domain controller. But Nmap -S S O S, we'll put it into stealth mode. P, I like to choose the ports. I'm just giving an example that you can choose as many ports or as little ports as you want to make your life faster. 2.168.0.254. So there we go. Let's see what this yields. And I entered that in wrong. Huh. And there we go. Yeah. For some reason, the NBT Scan seems to knock it off. Now I turned the firewall off on this computer. And then afterwards, we'll scan it with the firewall on. So that's with the firewall off. Let's go try this with the firewall on. It's taking a little bit of time now, and it's not able to find any quite as easy anymore. I'm just going to scroll back up here. As we can see, I'm getting my services, if they're open, and the port that they're on. I'm getting a lot of information with Nmap. Down here, I have my MAC address, type of computer, or at least the motherboard, what type of software is being run. It is the domain controller, so it's only able to guess so much, but it does say there, you got 2008 Service Pack 1. Which is strange because I'm actually running R2. Anyways, it's quite a bit of information there. Now it's taking a lot longer to scan it with the firewall up, but notice that there's actually still quite a few ports open up on this server. So we have quite a bit of information now. We have our ports, we have addresses, we have MAC addresses, but we're going to get just a little bit more information. And what we're going to do in our next section is we're going to enumerate some DNS and have a little bit of fun with DriftNet. our last section, we're going to do some internal surveillance. In other words, we're going to surveil what people are actually doing on the network and what kind of packets are moving back and forth. As a pen tester, this will allow you to see what traffic is working around the network, what the employees are doing with that traffic, and if there are any problems. And it will also give you a very visual tool to show your client how open or how closed their network actually is. So today, what we're going to use is DriftNet. In order to use DriftNet, though, we have to do something, and that is we have to spoof the MAC address. We need to sit in between one of the conversations of one of the hosts and the default gateway. Now, previously, we had mapped it out. We had found where our default gateway was and where our hosts were. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of our hosts. And what we do is we do ARP spoofing. So that's I. Now I'm on my wireless card here. So I choose my interface, WLAN 0. And I need my targets. 2.168.0.1. That's my default gateway, or the default gateway, or 192.168.0.126. That is the host that I want to intercept messages from. This host will still get all of their traffic, but I'm going to intercept a little bit of that, but I'm going to intercept that traffic along with the host by spoofing its MAC address. And there we go. I'm seeing every time the host is communicating with their switch, I'm sitting in the middle of the conversation. Now what we need to do is just to tie everything up. What we're going to do is we're going to go to privilege escalation, protocol analysis, network sniffers, DriftNet. Here's DriftNet. DriftNet is very simple to use, but it gives a very nice aspect of what's happening on your network. And all you have to do is just go DriftNet -v for verbose -I. Always put verbose, it tells you when things are going wrong. SI and WLAN 0. Wireless LAN 0. And there we go. The box over here will show images that it catches. Now, as we can see, traffic is starting to go over the network. And we're just trying to capture some images. There, we've captured some images. As you can see, it's a few sections of The Walking Dead. And that's it. It is simple as that. Well, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed BackTrack 5. This has been information gathering and vulnerability analysis. So we're done. You've seen a few things, and you understand a few more things about the concepts of penetration testing. And first you must start off with information gathering and vulnerability analysis. I'm glad to have had this time with you, and have a great day. Okay. From dot slash Thank you.